Welcome back to Design Bundle's YouTube channel. If you guys are new here, my name is Crystal, and today we're going to be working with a picture frame. So this is kind of similar to a shadow box, if you will. It's just a deeper picture frame. So I'm going to be using this, and then we're going to be using one of our 3D paper crafts. So I've cut this out. It's got technically 5 layers here with a little white background, but I'm actually going to do something a little bit different. So a couple different ways that we can work with this is 3D, adhesive foam dots, or you could use some glue. So let's go ahead and dive right in. All right, so let's go ahead and get ready for our craft here. The file that I'm using is linked down below. So this is only 1 Plus credit if you guys are a Plus member. Now I want to show you guys this file because it is quite amazing what our die cutting machines can do. This was the Cricut 3. So this is the Cricut Explorer 3, if you will. Look at how thin this is. So these teensy tiny strings here for the swing, is that not amazing? And then this grass detail right here is just absolutely gorgeous. I think this shadow in itself is just adorable. So I've got I've got all 4 of my layers cut here. Now the way that this was designed is it would cut a small piece of white, but what I did here was I just cut it myself. So I just hand cut a scrap piece here because basically what this is for where the little moon or sun would be. But you could also do that in yellow or orange, whatever color you wanted to. You could do a gold sun or moon, if you will. So lots of different things you can do there. You could have done like with all these colors here that they have for you, I've kind of stuck with what they have. But with this right here, you could do like a navy blue for a night sky. I mean, you could really create the scenery however you wanted to. Now, something that thought was really cool. So like I said, I just cut the scrap piece here and then just ditched the other layer with the Cricut to save some time. But I'm actually going to use, because the frame that I found, look at this really cool brush strokes that are in here. So they match this. So there's a gold one here and then these layers of pink. I'm actually just going to use the paper that's in here for my background for my little sun or moon. So that's what I'm going to do today. Now, like I said, this is actually not technically a shadow box. This is just a deeper picture frame, if you will, with this little matte square. So the way that I've designed this is with this matte square in mind, I wanted to do something a little bit different because I've been showing quite a bit of these shadow box as you guys are loving them. I wanted to show you something different. So today, instead of using the 3D foams, I'm going to actually use my hot glue gun here because I'm going to glue them together. You could use a Tombow, whatever you wanted to, but I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue. So I'm actually going to keep these layers together. So it's going to be flattened like this, all right? Because we're going to use it behind this matte white border here. So I'm going to use that. But if you wanted to use your 3D foam dots, you would get rid of this. You do it in a shadow box or get rid of this matte board here and then do it in there. Okay, so you guys can create this however you want to. Now, this would also be really cute on a card. So you could glue all the layers together like this, like we're going to do today, and then glue it on a card front like this, like with a little bit of a white border would be so cute. It would make a great anniversary card to give to somebody, or if it was Valentine's or, anything like that, or wedding gift. This would be a great card to make as well. So lots of different things you can do with this. So let's go ahead and get started. I found this picture frame at TJ Maxx and it was just a few dollars. I really love the gold on it and I thought it was something different. So you guys can definitely check out, Ross's or any little home goods. You can also even sometimes find these things at like Goodwill or yard sales. So what we're going to do first is I want to remove this backing here. And then it comes with a couple, different little pieces. This piece right here is what I was telling you. Normally you throw these away. This is where it's got either, somebody's photo, for an example, but it had this really pretty deal here. So I'm actually going to use a piece of this or this here. So I'm just going to kind of create this. How gorgeous is that? So I'm using another one. What do they say? Another man's trash is another man's treasure. And that's mine today. So if you guys are a hoarder like me, stuff like this is just exciting. So you could even do something like this would be cute, but I think I'm going to use it down here. All right. So I really want to keep this because if we do this, I'm going to try to line it up so hopefully you guys can kind of get an eyeball. So the way that it is now, look at how cool this is. And then with that in the background, hopefully you guys can kind of see that. But it's actually cutting some of this off because I made it a little bit too big. I could actually go back and recut this because the first time I did it, I was going to do it using the 3D squares without this mat. But then I started checking it out and I was like, I want to keep this. All right, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try to attempt to trim down this white piece so we can keep some more of our image here. So to do so, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I'm going to attempt to do this with my paper trimmer. So let's see here. So what I'm thinking to be able to trim this down is I'm going to take my top layer here. I'm going to kind of line it up as best as possible. And then I'm going to take an ink pen. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take an ink pen here so that way I can figure out about how much I need to trim. So I'm going to do something like this just so I know that that's the highest of that point there. So I'm just getting a little few spots in here so I can visually see when I go to trim how far I need to trim this. So hopefully that helps and makes sense. Okay, so I'm just doing a few thin points of our top layer. All right. So hopefully you guys can kind of see those little bitty marks on here. So I know when I go to trim, I need to trim just a little bit past that. Okay. So here we go. So let's go ahead and get this in here. And let's see if we can attempt to do what I think I can do. So I am going to be able to line this up. Right. I'm going to get it up here at the top. So I'm actually going to bring this guy down here. And something about like this looks good. All right. So what I'm going to do is I've got this kind of not centered, but I've got it on the inside. So I'm going to sink it down in here. And I'm going to try to drag it up as much as I can. And I may have to come back and trim this with my scissors to fix anything if I go too not enough in, if that makes sense. All right, so I've trimmed the other side as well. Go back and look. I need to come up just a little bit more. That's good. So now I'm going to trim this. I'm going to go ahead and try to get the same amount on this side. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball because I do want to keep them the same. So I think it was somewhere right about in here. All right, top to bottom. There we go. Then I'm going to come in here. All right. And we can go ahead and take off. And they've got too high there, so hopefully it won't show too much. All right. And then I'm going to trim like that as well. Once again, I may have to come back in with some scissors just to be perfect. And then I want to trim around that same amount. So sink this high down and then go across. All right. So what I need to do, if you can get it absolutely perfect, you're amazing. But for me, I don't want to go too far into it. So what I'm going to do now, so I've got my basic pieces. I could come into those corners here and I can actually cut these here just like so. So I can go ahead and come in here, get that last little snip that I need, just like that. And then the same thing for this side. Now, what I would love to have done, but I didn't have it with me today, is you could actually use your knife blade with one of those like cutting mats and a ruler, and that would have been absolutely perfect. So if you have that, highly recommend you use that, but I didn't have it with me today. So this is just going to be another option. So now I could go ahead and cut off this last little piece like this. All right, there we go. So now this should go on here something about like that. And I think we can see a little bit more. Let me check it out and see. Let's see if that works for us a little better. Try to line it up here. Yeah, and I think that looks great. And if I need to, you see how I kind of got up here a little bit higher. I could always come back and fix that, but I think it's okay. All right, so now what I want to do too is I'm going to trim down a little piece of this that's going to go in my background. So I'm going to go ahead and just trim off something about like this. Because you don't need a whole big piece. It's just going to go right there on the back. All right. So now we're going to start to glue these pieces together. All right, here we go. So our background piece, I'm going to do something about like this. Looks great. So what I'm going to do here, we're going to go ahead and take our glue gun. And I'm going to go ahead and get some glue down here. Lay this down here. Actually, I'm going to set that up. Lay it down, whichever one it wants to do. And then we're going to go ahead and line this guy up like this. I got a little bit of this paper. I'm going to go ahead and trim it off like that. All right, looks good. Let me actually take off a little bit more of that. I just don't want it to hang off over in the front. There we go. All right. So now we have something about like this. I love that paper. I think it's adorable. Okay, so there we go. So now what we're going to do is we're going to continue to layer all of these pieces in here like so. So what I can go ahead and do here is just kind of go in here just like this quickly to beat that hot glue from drying on me, and then pop that down. Now, once again, you could definitely just use whatever glue you would like, whether it's, Elmer's glue, or if you wanted to use a Tombow glue would definitely work as well. So I'm going to go ahead and keep going here. There we go. And we're going to go ahead and get in our next layer here. You guys let me know down below. Have you guys ever just tried to really beat that hot glue gun? You know how it tries to dry on us so quickly. Now this layer, like I said, I love it so, so much. That fine detail is so cool that our die cutting machines can even do that. It's just amazing. Okay. I think I went a little bit too high with that glue, but it's going to look like water. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm trying not to get it to dry on me because you see how I kind of got over just a smidge. There we go. Okay. Trying to make sure I don't have any little lines here. All right. So now what we can do is come in with this piece right here. So what I'm going to do, so that way I can make sure it's absolutely perfect, is I'm actually just going to go ahead and go around this piece here instead of my, my 3D paper craft, just so I can make sure it's absolutely perfect, just like so. Flip it over and do that. So now what I can do, and you see what's perfect about this, now that we've left this little bit of a gap all the way around, I'm still going to be able to perfectly slide this in here just like so. And then we can take that same backing to protect everything. And then we can do this. Now, another thing that you could do, you know what's popular where everybody shares their longitude, latitude. So say, for example, if this was for somebody, look at how amazing this is. Is this not so cute? I love these 3D paper crafts. So definitely showing you guys something different without using the 3D foam dots. You can still keep this flat and place it in a picture frame. And it doesn't even have to be a picture frame that's 3D like this. You could definitely do just a plain picture frame. So I really love the colors that was already designed out for us. So I went with those because I love the neutral tones of this. It's really neat. Now, the popular thing right now is that longitude, latitude. So if this was for somebody's anniversary, or if you were gifting this to your boyfriend, girlfriend, your spouse, or whoever, you could definitely put that longitude, latitude down here at the bottom, or the date that they got together, or maybe just their name. If you want to put their names or even the last name, you could do the Thomases. This would make such a great gift. But once again, there it is. I think it's absolutely adorable. And there you guys have it. How super cute is this? You guys can kind of see that it's three-dimensional in there, hopefully. So there you guys have it. If you guys enjoyed this, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.